Many arm wrestling promoters in the past have presented the dream of arm wrestling being on live television, but none of them have been able to fulfill that dream yet. But for the first time, or maybe for the second time, because Pro Punja League has already done it, for the second time, we are going to see arm wrestling on live television, and there is one man behind it, Mr. Praveen Dabas. How are you doing, sir?
Great. Thank you. Always a pleasure talking to you, Pradeep. So thanks for having me on again.
Yeah, third time on this channel, and the first time we are going live actually. So there will be live interaction this time, which is always awesome. And when I talk about Pro Punja League on this channel, people always seem to be excited about it. For some reason, I don't know why, but when I talk about Indian arm wrestling, people say, "Well, skip this topic, Pradeep. Please don't talk about it." But when I talk about Pro Punja League, everyone seems to be interested in that topic. That's what I've noticed on my channel.
Well, thanks. That means we must be doing something right,
Yep.
right?
Yeah. So 16 people have joined and more will be joining soon. So today's discussion is going to be about the first season of Pro Punja League in India, which will be televised on Sony TV network, which is a huge news not only in India but for the entire world. We have been discussing these topics for a very long time, like what is the ideal format for arm wrestling. Is it free broadcast for people on YouTube? Is it pay-per-view model? Or is it television, the ultimate model? And if it is possible or not, that's the big question. And all of these questions will be answered today. So please, every day new fans are joining. So for that reason, please can you please quickly give us a brief introduction about yourself, like so that they know who they are talking to.
Well, of course, I've been known here as an actor, primarily director. I've been in the entertainment industry for the last 20 years. But of course, I've always been a sportsman since I was growing up as well. A lot, like a lot of us, a lot of us who are in and around the sports industry have been wannabe sports people at some point in our lives, So I've, apart from my entertainment and acting career, I've owned some sports websites and a digital agency for quite a few years, including one of India's biggest MMA sites called MMAindia.com, SportsIndiaShow.com. So because of that, I have been very closely watching and associated with the UFC as well. We're accredited media with the UFC. And it feels great to be on the same channel now as the UFC in India and the WWE as well. So, everything that we watch, everything that we absorb, I've taken that as an experience and tried to learn from that. So, and also combine my learnings in the entertainment industry to make, arm wrestling, or as we call it in India, Panja, more entertaining as well, while not taking out the sports in it, right? And that's why when you say that, when you talk about Pro Punja League and people get excited, that's music to my ears, because that's what we want to do, right? Because we want to create 2 hours of an entertaining program, right? Of course, we can't be the Super Bowl or something. We can try though, right? But or basketball, it's every sport has a certain duration, right? Which is a sweet spot, and you're trying to make that sweet spot as entertaining as possible, right? So it's all how you do it and then execute it as well. So we have been trying to execute these events. We have been trying to make them much larger than life in India. If you see our last big tournament, I would say, because we've had 2-3 tournaments in between as well. Our last big tournament was in front of the Gwalior Fort. Now, something like that's never been done in the world, right? Forget about arm wrestling. Very few sports, right, have been done like that, And I was joking with Michael Todd before he saw the fort that it's not a small ass fort. So when they saw it, they knew what I was talking about. It's not like some little fort or something, some ruins here. No, Gwalior Fort
Yeah.
was a big, big fort. So when you do events, or when you take the sport of arm wrestling in front of locations like that, like we've done on top of a casino boat in front of the Gateway of India, it makes the sport itself larger as well, right? And that's what we've attempted to do, and we are very blessed that we're able to do that. I know not everybody can pull off getting permission to do an event like that in front of the Gwalior Fort because they had never given that permission to anybody. And we had also been rejected first. So I had to make some phone calls, do some running around, fly here and there to make sure I got that permission. But we managed to do it, right? That's the main thing, is we managed to do it. So the whole thing is making the sport, larger than life and making it entertaining for people. And my background of coming from the media and entertainment space, and also being in sports for some time, and being a sportsman, a wannabe sportsman since my childhood, kind of helps put everything together, I would say.
When you say this wannabe sportsman thing, you remind me of one video that I watched. There was a woman that was saying something about her husband, and that short went viral. And she said that one thing I've noticed about men, and every single man has it in him, and it is that his desire or his hopes or his dreams of becoming a professional sportsman never dies, no matter how
Yeah.
old that man gets. Even if he is like 50 years old, there is a dream like maybe I can still do something. That dream always
I
stays.
still practice boxing. Look at me. I'm still, in my mind, I'm like, listen, if there's an over 45 tournament, maybe I can get in there and kick some ass. But right now I have a torn shoulder, so I've not trained in 4 months. But still, so in your mind, like I said, every guy, because every guy watches sports.
Yeah.
Every guy, when you watch sport, no matter what sport you follow, the whole feeling is that could have been me, right? And that's the experience we try to give in Pro Punja League. You've seen we pull people out of the audience, get them on stage, get them to experience the table as well. Because we want people to have that experience of that could have been me, because everybody's done arm wrestling in their college, school, or childhood, right?
Yeah.
So when you bring them to the table, that childhood, that primal kind of feel comes out. So that's the whole idea of bringing them to the table, because like we said, everybody has that in them still. Every guy, at
Yeah.
least, always thinks he could have, I could have been a sportsman.
Yeah. Arm Wrestling Insider is saying, I want to see Pradeep having a boxing match against Praveen.
That I don't have a problem with. Arm wrestling, I won't do. I'm not a big
Yeah.
arm wrestler. But I
So
can
one
practice boxing. Yeah.
Yeah. One question, what are the differences that you have noticed while getting into sports that are already big compared to getting into sports that are not so big as like arm wrestling? Because yes, we have been a part of World Arm Wrestling Federation for almost half a century, I guess. We've conducted like what 45 national championships, IF championships, but still till 2020 the sport was almost nothing in India, and the crazy boom that we have seen in the last 3 years, 2 years, that is just unheard of. So what are the differences that you have seen, and what are the, I would say, challenges or maybe even benefits of getting in such sports?
See, the whole thing is, in a successful sport, you'll have many, many people, right? So you're a small fish in a big, big pond, right? But in a sport where there's a lot of risk, right? Nobody's done anything before. Nobody else wants to come. But, the benefit of that is you're a big fish in a small sea, but also that you have the capacity to uplift a whole community of sports people. My thing was not just come in, where can we make money? That's never been. You've seen what we do, and that is not the intention, right? Behind what we do. Eventually, of course, nobody wants to. Nobody's in business to lose money, but we're not here to make money from the players. We are here to invest and grow the sport, and yeah, eventually everybody wants to make money. But the thing is, we wanted to also be in a sport where we can make a difference. Where we can actually make a difference. Because I'll be very frank with you. Like I said, everybody wants to be a sportsman, but my heart has always been with sports people, because I see how hard they work. I see the obstacles that they are up against most of the time. They're up against a lot of obstacles. So I wanted to come in where I could make a difference. Also a sport that I liked. So I felt when I zeroed down on arm wrestling, Panja, that this is a sport where I can come in and make a difference. I understand the sport. I didn't know all the rules. I'm still learning, the rules. But it's not important for me. I'm not a referee or a judge, right? I just need to know how to sculpt the rules and make them even more interesting for the professional audience, right? For the professional watching audience. So for me, it was about, how can I help bring this sport to the national consciousness in front of people and make it entertaining, at the same time bringing up these arm wrestlers, showing them what needs to be done. And like we've always said, aapki kismat aapke haath. Tell the arm wrestlers, at the end of the day, it's in your hands. I can't train for you, right? We can make this big platform, we can do a lot of things, but I can't sit there and train for you. So I think a lot of, if you see, even since, if you saw Gwalior, what we did at the ranking tournament, from what the first one, the level of the athletes had hugely increased. And even if you see from Gwalior to now, our last event in Chandigarh, Chandigarh University, I saw so many athletes who had improved so much. Why? Because they're just taking their training so seriously and they're so good. There's an athlete from Maharashtra. Of course, I have to mention our Maharashtra athlete, Mir Farat Ali, who won the 65 kg title in Chandigarh, and I thought he was vastly improved. You could tell that he had been training very hard, and kudos to guys like that. If you see the I think it was the 85 kg above, which was very tough because it was just 85 kg and above. We wanted to be tough. And the final was between Shivam Rajput and Pramod Mukhi. And it was an amazing, amazing final, and we had introduced, the rolling, the running foul rule. So, it made it even more interesting, because if you did a foul, you had to actually win that round to have a repeat. Right. So I loved it. It made it more interesting. The players weren't that happy initially, but they got it, because it's the same for everybody. So, so I've seen a vast improvement in a lot of players, even within the last 6 months. Of course, a huge difference in the last 3 months since we've been there. But even in the last 3 months, I think they've totally realized what's at stake, that they have to perform on the table. And they also have to be entertaining. I think a lot of guys are getting that. They're understanding. Listen, that if I do this, if I win, and plus if I'm able to be interesting in front of the camera, I'm going to get more views, and more views means more followers, people wanting to advertise through my Instagram accounts, and blah blah blah. So since Gwalior, there are a lot of players who are making a lot more money also. So they've realized. And this is what I keep telling him. It's not just what you make, from the tournament. It's what you make around it. You need to, and you had a chat with them as well. You need to be very active, post regularly, be on YouTube, do this, do that, and be out there. So there's a lot of money to be made if you know how to make it. And if you work hard, people are going to notice you. You are going to be able to come to the top. So like I said, I've seen players who in the recent past have improved leaps and bounds, and hats off to them. I have the highest respect for them.
Mm-hmm. And Igor Mazurenko, India will be a superpower in arm wrestling in 5 to 7 years. That cannot be more true. And I've already seen this trend, because
I don't think it's that Igor Mazurenko, is it?
No, it's not the original. Yeah. So if we've already seen it. In long form content, yes, there is still a huge scope to grow. But in shorts format, or if we just talk about the number of views arm wrestling is getting, I think if we calculate the views coming from India in arm wrestling matches or everything, and the second or third, fifth countries, I think you can combine all 4 of those countries and they still wouldn't be able to keep up with India. That many views arm wrestling is getting in India.
If you see, since Gwalior, since July 24th, we've had 220 million views, which I'm not saying is, but it's not bad, right? It's a decent amount, right? So, and our YouTube has grown. We were a little behind you, and now we're a little ahead of you, right? So our YouTube has grown, appreciatively pretty well as well as our Instagram and Facebook and all our other social media, and that's where the fans are. Right now the fans are there on social media.
Yeah.
There is an audience out there. There is, and that those social media numbers have made us be able to make a broadcaster interested, because the minute you have those kind of numbers, anybody's ears perk up, because they're not small numbers,
Yeah.
right? So people's ears perk up when those numbers come up, and they're totally organic.
Yeah. 100% organic.
Yeah, because if I had to pay for those kind of numbers, I would be on the street by now. You
Yeah.
know?
Yeah. And not only those numbers, the athletes on their private social media accounts, they are also generating that kind of views, like
Yeah, that's what I'm
220.
saying.
Yeah.
Absolutely. A guy, Satnam Singh, also, who's a brilliant arm wrestler who's really come up now as well. He tagged me in something where he got like 1 million views on one of his reels. So athletes are getting a lot of, Tawheed gets a lot of, views as well on some of his. And apart from the guys who are regularly getting really good views like Rahul Panekar and Sachin Goyal, Mohsin, a lot of the other guys, but there are guys who, their videos are starting to really gain traction.
Yeah.
But it also happens when they win.
Yeah.
There's a guy called Shoaib Akhtar also. He's, so from Dehradun or from Uttarakhand, a lot of guys who are just coming up. They're doing something, they're winning, they're getting attention, and their videos are going viral. And I love it.
Yeah. And you mentioned Sachin Goyal. He went from 50,000 subscribers to like 350,000 subscribers in a matter of a month. So that's how fast you can grow in India. And earlier I was kind of doubtful about the short form content views. I was like, people who don't really have much attention span, they watch shorts. And then I realized that it is the new generation. Every old generation feels that way about the interests of the new generation. So new generation is going to spend the maximum time on shorts and reels and this stuff. So it is really good in that sense that you have captured that market really well.
Yeah, absolutely. You have to know that, there's certain content which is good for reels, and shorts, and there's certain content which, has to be in the long format. To each his own, but you have something out there for everybody. The whole idea is to grow the sport, right? And get people interested in watching, whether it's through shorts, reels, or, long format videos. So, but the charm is always in, it's like, there's T20, there's 50 over matches, but there's still a lot of charm in in Test cricket, right? So that's what it is. But the most popular is T20 now, right?
Yeah.
And when T20 came out, they looked at it as like a cheap form of cricket, right? But you look at it now.
Yeah, T20 is everything. Like I was mentioning with some of the arm wrestling friends, when Dhoni came out, Hotstar had like 17 point something million viewers live at a time. So that kind of crazy numbers T20 is getting.
Yeah.
And Mark Skigera with a 75 dirham or 1600 rupees Indian rupees super chat. Thanks to PPL. India will be a pioneer in drug
Do I get a
free.
share of that?
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah, I'm just kidding.
Thanks to Pro Punja League, India will be a pioneer in drug-free arm wrestling. Jai Hind.
Yes, absolutely. And we've always believed in that. We've spoken about that. We've started random testing, and we will want to tie up with the official drug testing agency going ahead as well.
Yeah. So in this, like I heard from you that you tested few guys in the ranking tournament. So this is the first time I'm hearing that a professional tournament is doing drug testing in arm wrestling. I've never seen that. Yes, in WAF there is drug testing, but that is amateur tournament. In professional it is the first time. So in the league it will be the same random drug testing, or the winners, or like what is the procedure?
See, we will do random testing initially. Going ahead, it's going to be handled by an agency. So they will handle it the way they do, but it is usual random testing. Whether then they test all the winners as well, then we'll see.
Yeah. And guys, your question, of over 50 people already watching, your questions are most important. That's why we are going live. So feel free to ask any kind of questions. Keep in your mind that there is going to be an arm wrestling league on television. Sony Sports Network, the biggest sports network in India and probably in the entire world. I'm not sure about that, but maybe in the entire world. And Related to that, your doubts will be cleared here, so you can ask anything you want. Mark was also saying that only an Indian thinks 220 million views is okay, not bad.
Well, I was,
Yeah.
we want to do more. So right now we gotta, you know,
So do we have any date or month, like when can we expect the
we
league
will
on
be
TV?
announcing that within a week, 10 days. We
Okay,
will be announcing, but let's say between July and October.
between July and October. So this year it is going to be.
Yeah.
Okay. And so what is the format? League, like in other sports we have seen leagues, we understand the format, but in arm wrestling, even for me, it is difficult to understand. So can you quickly explain what the format is going to be?
There's going to be 6 teams, right? And 10 weight categories in every team, 6 men, 3 women's, and one specially abled category. And each weight category will have 3 people, right? But the format itself will be there's going to be 2 hours, and we're going to be live on Sony Sports, right? Between 7 p.m. to 9 p.m., which is prime time. So not only are we on Sony Sports, but we're going to be on prime time Sony Sports and prime time TV in India, right? So the format is the first hour. 2 teams are going to play each other, in which they are going to be 3 matches, right? Best of 5. Each match is going to be best of 5. I have always believed best of 5 is the best format. Best of 3 is a little short. Best of 7 becomes a little too long. So best
Yeah.
of 5, I feel, is a sweet spot. So each match is going to be best of 5. And, you get a point for winning every round. We are going to be introducing something different and special, which I'll talk to you about later. I don't want to take out all my cards right now, so we will be doing some special things in between. So let's say somebody wins 3-2, right? It's not like they just take 1 point for winning that match. The points which go ahead are going to be 3-2, right? So even the losing guy still has got 2 points for his team. And at the end of the day, those points get calculated to see who won. But at the end, it's that total points which will decide. So the second hour, then there's 2 other teams, same format, right? So the first 15 days, each team plays each other twice. And the 4 highest ranking teams out of those 6 go into the semifinals, which is the 16th day. And the 17th day, of course, is the finals between the 2 people who have won the semifinals. So It's
Okay.
going to be 17 days of non-stop arm wrestling. All you arm wrestling fans, bring out the popcorn and be ready for 17 evenings of non-stop arm wrestling excitement.
Yeah. You at first you mentioned 3 players from each weight category, and I remember 18 were selected in each weight category. So is it going to be like 3 arm wrestlers every single day, different arm wrestlers, or?
Yeah. So how it's going to be, actually, I'll explain it to you. Like, there's a match with 3 matches, right, in one fixture, right, between 2 teams, right? Now we'll already have done the draft in which the players are going to be in their teams, right? Now everybody has 3 players in every weight category, right? Now out of these 3 matches, one team gets to pick his player who gets, or let's say the weight category, right? One weight category he gets to pick, and he'll probably pick his weight category where his player is number 1 or number 2, right? The second match, the other team gets to pick their weight category. And the third match, the center is going to pick which weight category. The reason being is, okay, one match, you get to pick your best guy, and the other guy and the other person has to put up, whoever they want out of their 3 people in that weight category, right? And vice versa, right? We are going to pick one so that we want one match also for the other guys who may not be in the top 3. And there are a lot of other interesting matchups, right? There's a lot of interesting players. So we want to make sure that one match in every fixture is done with the guys who are a little lower in their rankings, but still are very interesting matches, and also a little more equally matched. You got it? A
Yeah.
little? No
Yeah,
doubt.
a little bit, no, no, not
Yeah,
everything. So that way, there's a lot of strategy involved in it as well. Because
exactly.
yeah,
Now you have got, see, any team sport or any sport involves strategy.
yeah,
Now I've got you thinking exactly what I want to. It will
yeah,
involve strategy. Now tell me one thing. Your guy will not, number one guy will not be able to play each and every time.
yeah,
You may have to rest him every time. Who do you use then? Right? So
yeah,
it is going to involve a lot of strategy. Who do you pick when? Also, who do you pick to play against that guy? So there is going to be a lot of strategy and everything involved.
yeah. That's going to be amazing. Any location has fixed or not?
We will be announcing it soon. Right now, we have two options. So no, let's just say it most probably might be the NCR area somewhere.
Yeah. Mark is saying that's huge. You guys don't realize how huge that is. Like every Indian everywhere in the world who can afford cable TV is subscribed to Sony TV. Congrats, Praveen sir.
Thank you, thank
So
you.
so
But
so,
this
so
deal of ours is just for the Indian territory. Okay, it's just for the Indian territory. Abroad, we're going to be tying up with other people, maybe Sony Sports somewhere, but other people. We've already been seen in America, on cable through someone. We're going to be doing different deals in different places.
yeah, so that was one of the questions as well. Carlos was asking, is there any way possible to watch in Canada?
Most probably there is, and we will announce it once that deal is done. We're in talks already for that deal.
Yeah, so that would be amazing. And just to give you guys some reference, in India, Sony Sports Network shows WWE and UFC both. So there is nothing bigger than that. So that's the absolute pinnacle of the sport. And now WWE and UFC have also teamed up, partnered up. So
Yeah,
that's
absolutely.
biggest sports industry in the world, and that is being telecasted on Sony television. So what are the channels that it will be broadcasted on?
Sony 10-1, SD and HD.
Yeah. Sony and 10, these are like two networks that we have grown up seeing, like 10 Sports as it used to be. We always
But
used to wait.
the Sony bought over 10 Sports quite a few years back.
Yeah, yeah.
So there's Sony Sports 6, which is the main one, right? And then there's Sony Sports 10-1, SD and HD, which is the main Sony 10 channel. So we're lucky enough to be on their main Sony 10 channel, HD as well as SD.
Yeah. And for some people who have completely switched away from TV, like I have a TV in my home, but I don't even remember when the last time I turned it on. So I watch everything on my mobile phone or my laptop. So what are the options available for those
We
people?
are in talks for the OTT as well, and we'll be announcing that very soon. So you'll be able to see it on digital as well. We
But
do.
in digital, I think channels can be accessible on things like Geo Cinema as well. Like they have the options of multiple sports channels and every single
Absolutely.
channel.
Absolutely.
Yeah, 10 Sports, home of cricket. Yeah, Mark is saying I absolutely remember we used to as kids like 5 6 years old we used to wait for that 5 p.m. WWE show
Yeah.
Monday Night Raw, like that
Absolutely.
was like the best thing, like if
Yeah.
and those days are going to be
But you
coming
have to
back.
remember, I think it's going to sink in much more to people, especially the athletes, how big this is. Because these are channels with a lot of history, like you rightly are saying, and the guys are figuring out as well. Sony and 10. These channels have a lot of history. They have a lot of backing. So to be on them is a proud moment, not just for Pro Punja League, but the whole arm wrestling community in India, and also for the world in a sense, because there used to be, Wall used to be there on ESPN, but it's not there anymore, right? So it has been on OTTs, for some time, some of the big promotions around the world, right? But everybody does want arm wrestling to be on broadcast everywhere. You have to remember, in India and even around the world, sports is still consumed primarily on broadcast. It's about 85%, broadcast TV, and then it's about 10-15% OTT online, right? So the majority is still consumed by broadcast. So
Yeah,
the broadcast deal being seen on TV is still the big deal.
yeah. And only you can tell how much you are allowed to speak or you want to speak about this topic, but like what it takes to get a deal with big sports networking giants like Sony Sports. Like how do you approach, like what is the plan?
See, the thing is, I'll tell you, we adopted a very different approach. Usually, if you see some of the sports have just they've come directly, like some other, I don't want to name any, but one or two sports, and a lot of the other sports may not be able to make it because they've not really tried to first grow the sport. Our thing was we didn't want to walk around with a pitch deck explaining the sport and showing somebody on a presentation, see how interesting arm wrestling can be, blah, 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 blah. No. Our plan was, what, we're going to actually do tournaments and matches, and for us it was a learning experience also, that we want to do this to show people how exciting it can be. Right? So when we approached people, we actually had things to show them, actual tournaments, actual matches. So we had stuff to show them. So there was a point of reference. This is where it is, and this is where we want to take it. And this is the kind of the style that we're going to use for it. So like they say, if you can show me, then don't tell me. And that's what we believed in, that we're going to show you, so we have to explain less of what we're going to do. Having said that, of course, it's not that easy, but fortunately we have been in the entertainment industry for some time, so
Yeah.
we know our way.
So another kind of personal question, in such deals with the sports networks, if I ask you, let's say 6 months from now when the first season is over, so would at that time Pro Punja League be a profit making organization, or would you still be burning money at that time?
I sure hope I'm a profit making organization by that time. I really no, we'll be pretty much, I think by then we should be okay. Yeah.
So, like, what are Sony looking for? Like, if for the networking agency or broadcasting agency, what are their expectations from the sport? Okay, now we have agreed that.
Yeah, everybody's expectations are views, right? That
Yeah.
people tune in, right? That you're going to make it exciting, that people will want to watch it. That's what and the production value will be really good. So that is something we are doing some really cool and new stuff, which nobody in the world has done. And I'll show it to you later. We can't talk about it in public, but I will show you later. I'm not even going to send you a video, but I'll show it to you otherwise. And let me tell you, it is going to be some really exciting stuff. Sometimes you just gotta wow people, right, to get their interest, right?
Yeah.
And that's what I keep telling the athletes. It's you're not just there, on the table. You got to remember, you have to want to make people watch you. You have to remember, I know we are the underdogs, right? I know that. The athletes, I keep telling them, listen, nobody's, you can't perform, just because you're there, people are going to watch you. No, you have to make people watch you. It's a channel. Anybody can switch the channel. You have to make sure that they don't. Right? So you got to put your emotions and everything out there. And if you see, there's such a huge difference where athletes are really putting their heart and soul into the game. And I really respect that, because that's where the views are coming from. The 220 million views are the athletes' views.
Yeah.
Of course, we're there to be in between and to help, but they're the athletes' views, because the athletes are really getting, what we're saying. They're becoming entertaining. They're making the matches, watchable. If you see it, people are starting to copy even Parmeet's style a couple of places here and there. And so it's interesting, always when players' style starts being copied, that's the beginning. If you see in Chandigarh, Harman and Sanjay Deswal were mobbed. The girls were yelling for them. The girls were even yelling for the referee, Shiva Chaudhary. He's a tall, good-looking dude. They were even yelling. So it's great, and I feel so good that the players are able to experience that, where they're taking selfies with fans and people are yelling out their name and everything. And that's where we want the game to go.
Yeah.
So that's what we are bringing to the table when we present the tables with the present the players on Sony Sports. We are making sure the production value is going to be something really different. The way we are presenting the game is something really different. Everything is really well thought out. When I take something up, I don't screw around. Let's just say that I don't screw around. I want to make sure, I live, breathe, sport and eat sport. For me, making sure that I am doing everything possible to make sure this sport becomes a success. That is what I'm doing. I have told my wife and kids, next 6 months, you might not see me much. Might not hear from me much. Some of them might be very happy because of that. But my intention is to make sure that what I have promised the arm wrestlers, that I actually do that. That you guys, of course, it's in their hands as well. But I'm going to give you the platform. I have certain, I know Sony Sports has expectations from us, right? For the kind of quality of the sport we're going to put out. I have to make sure that we live up to that. When the audience puts on the TV the first day, we want them to be glued to the TV set. We want them to say, wow. And let me tell you, it's an uphill battle. Not many people believe in arm wrestling, or a lot of people were saying that it wasn't is it really a sport also? But when they see us, when they experience us, they get hooked, they get addicted. That's what we can promise.
Yeah. So what can we arm wrestling fans do for the promotion, or for letting people know that this is where you need to tune in? Because when it shows on television, it feels like as if it has kind of gone beyond our level of abilities to promote the sport. But I'm quite sure there are still many things that we fans of the sport, we athletes and people who are somehow related to arm wrestling, we can do.
Well, mailing us checks always helps. Money never hurts. No, I'm kidding. But see, share it as much as possible. Share the content that you like as much as possible. That is the biggest thing that you guys can do right now. Support each other. I keep telling the athletes this. Don't just like your own stuff. Don't just post your own stuff. Post everybody's stuff. Like other people's stuff. Share it. I said, if you have 15 family members, tag them. Share it. And we had to. This is how, if you remember what we did for Gwalior, we actually told them, listen, if you share 10 things or whatever, the thing was that you'll get everything free, right? And it was literally free for them, everything, the same food and everything, right? So it was literally like that. But the whole idea is to get them into a habit of liking and sharing not just their own content, but other content as well. And again, I want to reach out to everybody, the arm wrestling community, through your show here and through you, is that the biggest thing, and since you've asked me this, which is a great question, the biggest thing the arm wrestling community in India and around the world can do is keep sharing and liking and sharing the content that you like. I'm not asking you to share just anything that you may not like, but if you like something, share it. It doesn't cost you anything, but that is literally what is going to grow the arm wrestling community in India and around the world.
Yeah. And now, since Sony is in partnership, they may be excited in this thing. I was wondering if you can talk with them, because there are some other primetime shows on Sony as well. So if Pro Punja League can go as guest on Sony television to promote Pro Punja League, because it is going to be on Sony television, I think they might have some interest in that.
Well, I'll tell you how it works is that they're all different divisions. And of course, we are going to try and go there, and all these different shows, definitely, but they're all like Sony Sports is different than, entertainment, and they have different heads basically, so it's not as easy as it sounds, but that is what we're going to try to do. And of course, and within Sony and everywhere, of course, we are going to try to be seen by the maximum number of people and be very creative in our marketing as well. And the good thing is, if you see it, people are still doing our marketing already. If you see, Kali was on a Kapil Sharma show recently, and even he was doing Panja. So and if you want to see Panja, who do you tune into? Pro Panja League. So that's some really good, free publicity for us. So that's what we want. Everybody, do Panja, go Panja, do shows and everything, and that's what's going to promote us.
Yeah. You know what? Something exciting. I don't know how, like, I just one day I thought about the great Kali used to do some arm wrestling matches in WWE. And I was like, but I have no way to contact him. And I thought that, like, maybe let's see, maybe something happens. I sent him a message on Instagram, like, talking, like, do you have some time to talk about arm wrestling? Like, arm wrestling is growing. And of course, he didn't reply. He didn't see the message.
Okay. Well, maybe we'll do something soon with him.
Yeah. And somebody was mentioning, Ligma is saying the sport needs to evolve a bit more to be profitable. I think the basic, in layman's terms, as much as I can interpret from my limited knowledge on this subject, I think money will come from only the amount of fans, the number of fans. When the fan base is big, then the sponsors will come, and when the sponsors will come, then the money will come. So that's the basic model. Because I was watching something, a kind of a mini documentary about IPL, and the prize money for winning IPL, they spend that much amount of money in buying one player. So they're not even looking at the looking at the prize money. So that's not where the money is coming from. The money is coming from the sponsors, and I think that's the only way. Now the arm wrestling world, especially in countries outside of USA, it is fully 100% relying on pay-per-view sales. But in my opinion, pay-per-views are like basically circulating the amount of money within the arm wrestling community. Fans are purchasing the pay-per-view, then athletes are using that to travel, organizers are using that to organize more events, then fans are purchasing more pay-per-views. So basically the money is flowing within the arm wrestling community, and I don't think that is the ideal model for the growth at bigger level. Of course that can also be continued, but we need to rely on sponsors more.
Yeah, I think you hit the nail on the head, and you gave a very good example of how, and why. And when it comes down to it, it's views, right? The more people watch, the more people watching, the more sponsors are interested in reaching out to those people. It's the quality of your product as well, right? Nobody wants to get associated with a shoddy product. So I think we've always delivered in those terms, that we've delivered big, high quality shows and products, right? So people, when they see that, it's great, because they know that this is a high quality sports product that they'll be associating with. But at the end of the day, that's what it comes down to. It comes down to views. And of course, the first time you do something, so the first time we're on TV, is always a wait and watch for a lot of people, because you can only give projected numbers, right? See, we can talk about our social media in terms of actual numbers, right? Because it's there. But in terms of how many people will watch on broadcast, we can give projected numbers, right? Because it's not actually happened yet, that this is what, we expect will happen, right? But it's after the first season, where things will become even more exciting, because you're not talking about projected numbers, but you're dealing with actual numbers. Let me tell you, there's a hell of a difference between what you project and what is. So people, especially sponsors and marketing people, prefer to deal with, actual numbers, because they know that, okay, the first season it was this, and the second season at least it'll be, 10, 15%, 20% more, or at least that itself. So you have something to at least, correlate to.
Yeah. I think the biggest challenge is going to be when we see if people know that this is actually going on, because we have seen the Pro Punja product in the past, and for sure the quality is going to increase in the future. But even if we talk about the previous tournaments, even that level of arm wrestling is good enough. I think it is easily good enough to catch the eye of the viewer, to get them hooked up to the screen, if in fact they tune into that channel. for sure, I have absolutely no doubt, I think this is the easiest part. If they somehow stumble upon that channel and they watch arm wrestling going on, the product is easily good enough to catch their attention and to keep them glued to the screen for at least an hour. The big challenge, in my opinion, is going to be letting people know that this is something that you can expect, and you should go to that channel to watch that. So that's the so do you have any specific plans to kind of create a
Market,
mass awareness on this
market
subject?
it. That's what marketing and advertising is, and we do have some plans and ideas in place. So we'll slowly unravel those. Let me tell you, give you an example. Sometimes, see, I'm talking about maybe a Hindi film. Uh, you sell the film through an item song. That item song may not even be in the film, but it gets people interested in the film, right? And it has something to do with the film. At least it might have the main character or whatever. But but it's all about getting people interested, right? And there are various ways of doing that. And that's kind of where our media background and blah 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 comes in. Like who would have thought, an arm wrestling match would happen in front of a fort, right? You were there, you knew the audience was overflowing everywhere. I don't know if arm wrestling has seen such a big audience ever. There was a huge audience. So, the whole point is, though, it's because the match happened there. So that's part of the marketing as well. So that every paper, wants to have a picture on their front page the next day of this arm wrestling and this match happening with the fort in the background. So the whole selling point was the fort as well, which nobody believed would happen, right? You were there, we were there. It was rain, it was this, we didn't have permission. We pulled it off though. So the whole thing is getting people's interest, right? Sometimes you have to spend a lot of money for some things you don't. Sometimes it's ideas, it's strategizing, but it's a lot of things and it's a lot of work. So like I said, I wake up in the morning, I start strategizing, I start planning, I start working. I work from, I start working the minute I wake up, literally. Even if I'm going for a walk. Right now I can't work out much. Like I said, I have a torn shoulder. Even if I'm walking, I'm on the phone talking to people, working. I'm in my office, I'm constantly working, doing this, doing that. So putting this, something like this together, and like you rightly said, it'll be on TV, but you have to get people to TV to know that thing is happening, right? And let me tell you, that is the biggest challenge. The challenge is not the actual putting together of the matches. We know how to do that. The players will come on the table. They know how to, they know what they're going to do, right? The challenge is getting enough people to know, on the very first day. After that, it's also word of mouth. If you click, everybody wants to watch good content, right? But it's that initial word of mouth, getting enough people to watch it initially. Of course, what we've been doing on social media also, is going to help. But it's much more. So a lot of it, like I said, what can the fans do? Keep sharing our contents, keep liking, keep sharing, because the more it goes out, the more people will watch, the more bigger this community grows and becomes stronger. So that's the main thing.
Yeah, I've always believed that there are three essential things that would make a great promoter for any sport and also arm wrestling. And those are, first of all, that person has to be interested, passionate about that sport, which you clearly are. We can see that whenever I get an idea about, I message you about some idea, and sometimes you call me to discuss that idea, and we can discuss one thing for 1 hour, and it clearly shows your passion for the sport. Any arm wrestling video, I think, by the way I watch it, by the time I watch it, you have already watched it probably 5 hours before me or a few days before me. You watch every single arm wrestling videos out there, so clearly shows your passion. Second thing is about having a business mind. That is also essential. Not only passion can grow the sport, you need to have a business mindset as well, or at least a business approach, learning approach. And you clearly have that. You have been involved in promoting sports for a very long time. And the third is marketing strategy. So you're involved in some marketing business as well, I think.
Well, we have, like I said, websites and everything. So, it's also been how to market those, right? And how to market sports,
Yeah.
how to market MMA. So we've been in that side. Like I said, I've been in films as well
Yeah.
for the last 20 years. So, I've sat through a lot of marketing strategies which I felt would work, a lot of which I knew wouldn't work. And I would tell people it wouldn't work. Sometimes people listen, sometimes they don't. I'm not saying I know everything, but I'm just saying that the experience is there. You also know, you never know sometimes what is going to work. Sometimes you think something is really going to work, it doesn't. Sometimes, you think something else, but you try, based on your experience, you have an idea of what can tingle people's senses and you try. I think somebody's paid you $5 to ask something.
Yeah, yeah. Proving Astrology. Thanks, brother, for the $5 super chat. Will we be able to stream these events on smart TVs and mobile devices easily?
I would say yes.
How?
Well, we will tell you there is something already which I can't talk about right now. There is one way I can't talk about, but having said that, we're also going to be we're going to be announcing an OTT as an online mobile device smart TV partner very soon as well. So before the league commences, we'll let you guys know all of these details.
So that will also be live.
Yeah, that will also be live.
Yeah,
Absolutely.
that's great. And Daryl Hart is saying, so if Praveen is putting on a show, then brilliant. I'll watch that. So thanks. So
Thank you. Thank you.
that these are the three things that I discussed about a promoter. I saw these three things. I was easily able to figure that out. And even in 2020, I was saying on my channel, even back then when Pro Punja League was not that big in 2020. Since then, I've been saying that yeah, this is the next big thing. It is quite clear that there is nothing stopping Pro Punja League right now.
Thank you.
So, who broadcasts these? Like for a layman, I don't know anything about these topics. So, who has the responsibility of the whole setup of the arena, the live broadcasting? Is it something that you have to do, or or the Sony Sports Network is going to do that?
Well, how it is it's basically the ground production is different, the video production is different, and there's an uplink facility. So it's uplinked to Sony, to Sony's channels and everything, and then they put on the feed. It's a technical thing. I'm not sure everybody here would be interested, but let's just say the ground, the whole event, the ground event is a different crew, and the video production, is a different too. And it's the video productions. Let's just say a signal has to reach till if this is us, this is Sony. Our job is to give the signal from here to here. After that, Sony takes over in bringing it in front of you.
Basically the first step is being initiated by you, and then you are giving them the entire video product, and they are just televising it.
Yeah,
basically.
Correct.
Yeah. Pro Punja League is the next big thing. Hashtag Dear Fitness. I think that is Arpan Kar from West Bengal. Yeah.
Great. Thank you, Arpan. And yes, it is.
Great.
Arpan, I thought was fantabulous in Gwalior. I think he surprised a lot of people. So good going on him.
Yeah. And I've noticed one thing about many players in India. At first, like about Parmeet, many people could have said that was a lucky draw that he got famous in that early 2020 match. I think that was because the India China aspect was Parmeet.
So I took down. I'll be very frank with you. I took down a lot of those videos because we never pitched it like that, and a lot of people took our video and used it like that. I have an idea who, but I don't want to say. But a lot of people, and I was quite frankly pissed off that it was being used like that. And we put out a couple of articles on it. Also, we put a lot of copyright strikes on people as well, who were using that video in the wrong way like that.
Yeah, only in the wrong way.
in the wrong way. Yeah. So we did bring down a lot of videos like that. That's not how we want to achieve success. We've never wanted to achieve views or get success in the wrong way.
Yeah.
So I don't care if they were getting views and promoting us.
Yeah.
The Northeast is a very, very dear part of my heart as well, and of us as Indians. And I will never, ever, ever allow anybody, to show disrespect in that kind of way, even if, for anything,
Yeah.
to any Indian, whether we're from the Northeast, North, anywhere. So we don't allow that kind of stuff, and we don't care whether what anybody thinks or cares about. We don't. We pulled a lot of those videos down, like I said.
Yeah, and as it should be. So for the viewers who don't understand, the case was simple. It was an Indian arm wrestler. Both of them were Indian arm wrestler. One from Punjab and one from Mizoram, I guess. Yeah, Mizoram. So somebody the people started putting out videos just to create that extra burst in views, India versus China, and the video started getting viral, millions of views. So those videos were taken down because they were misleading. And after that, what I saw about Parmeet is that he has the ability to go viral again and again.
Yeah, yeah,
So that
yeah.
is clearly not luck. He can go viral every single time.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. People see, I'll tell you, people either love or hate him, but they don't ignore him.
Yeah.
And that is the key. If you can make people interested in you, whether they hate you or love you, it doesn't matter. As long as they engage with you, they can't ignore you.
Yeah.
That is the thing. So when they can't ignore you, is when you're out there. He reads it. He's had a chat with me sometimes. I said, just don't even read it. Doesn't matter. Let me tell you, if somebody is putting a comment on your video, he's helping you. It doesn't matter what he says. Who the hell is I don't care about the comments. Quite frankly speaking, I've never cared about anybody. And let me tell you, 70 to 80% of it positive. Yeah, there's 20-30%, which is, a lot of the BS as well. But like I said, it doesn't matter. All I say is keep commenting, keep liking, keep sharing.
Yeah. And if we try to put that thing into the league format, I'm quite sure we don't need only the heroes of the crowd. We need some villains as well.
Yeah. Sorry, somebody's asking, is Parmeet the Keech guy? Yeah, he is, by the way. He is. The original Keech guy. Yeah, he is.
Yeah. So basically what he does is he holds his opponents and tells them like pull. Is that all you got? And then he pins him after shouting. He does that every single time, and for that reason people say that he's cocky, and some people hate him, as Praveen said, about 20%. And Mark was also asking that if your t-shirt says Pro Punja, which I know it says, but yeah, I just now realized that it is in Hindi, so people may not be able to read it. Yeah, it says Pro Punja. And this one also says Pro Panja.
Pro Punja in Hindi.
Yeah. So what are the topics that we may have forgotten to discuss now, like about the league, that the information that is available
We
with
are
you to
still
give out?
going to do some mega matches. It's not just going to be the league. We are still going to do some mega matches. And what's going to be interesting about the mega matches is that is that people are already going to know the arm wrestlers from the league. And there are a lot of arm wrestlers who would not have been able to have played each other in the league. But there's going to be a lot of interest that what happens if this guy plays this guy. And that's what we're going to do in the mega matches. That's the interest we're going to have, is in the mega matches, we're going to put those people against each other. There's going to be a lot of interest in those matches because of that.
Yeah. And last time we saw that Monster Michael Todd visited India for the Gwalior event. I was also there, and because of Pro Punja League, I was able to meet Monster Michael Todd, do an interview with him for both my Hindi and English channel. So that was really amazing. Rebecca Todd was also there, and the president of Asian Arm Wrestling Federation, Gene Beck, was also invited, and international referees. So what can we expect in a similar way this time about referees, guests, and people like that?
Yeah, we do plan on still having an international referee, Indian referees, people from the international community. a surprise international guest star, hopefully. And something else we've been doing, I think Mark has asked, said a good thing is arm wrestling table in every school, every college, every gym. India will be in Stockholm. We've already started doing that. What we try to do is like in Chandigarh right now, right? We had 3 tables, and every place we make these tables specially. And we left one in Chandigarh University, for the kids over there to practice. We sent one, we gave one to LPU University, lovely university in Jalandhar. It's in Jalandhar, no? It's in between there, no? Somewhere. Nee, Jalandhar, nee.
I don't remember.
Anyway, in Punjab, right? So in LPU, in fact, there was a big tournament on that table. Just I think today and yesterday.
I watched the videos.
You watched it, right? In which Harman and Shivam were, guest stars. So, so that's what happens, when you put these tables there, people, use them to start having matches and tournaments. We've left tables in Gwalior, in, a lot of other places in Bhind. So there are tables in LNIP in Gwalior as well. So wherever we have tournaments, we don't take our tables back. We leave them in different schools and colleges. So there is, a table for people. When there's a table there, people naturally flock to it. And that's what gets the arm wrestling vibe going. So that is what we have attempted to do, is start, putting out these things. Another thing we're doing right now is we have tied up along with Pro Punja has tied up along with the Madhya Pradesh Arm Wrestling Association with the specially abled, the government section which is looking after the specially abled kids, athletes in Madhya Pradesh. Mr. Manish Kumar has also been helping and putting that together along with the Madhya Pradesh Arm Wrestling Association. Mr. Tariq Khan and Manoj Singh Shekhawat, we've all gotten together, and with the government, we're doing a special tournament just for the specially abled. So me and Preeti are also going to Jabalpur on the 8th, this Saturday, for a big tournament happening in Jabalpur. And what's happening is there's a tournament happening in every district of Madhya Pradesh, right? Of all of Madhya Pradesh, for the specially abled. And the finale is going to be in Bhopal on the 16th. So even Jabalpur is having a big district competition. So again, this is something that, we're doing. We're meeting government, state governments, and getting them to start initiatives like this. Even the one we had done in Bhind some time back, which was done in collaboration with the collector over there, as part of the Atayar Mahotsav, was just for girls and the specially abled as well. So, we're doing these things, across, and we're trying to, to grow the sport like that, go to various places and grow the sport like that, and leave tables wherever we can.
Yeah. And guys, in India, in Pro Punja League, there is like everything is same for women's classes and for specially abled classes, and also the general male classes. Everything is same. The prize money is same. The opportunities are same. Everything is same. So that is a really cool thing as well. And in 2020, we used to discuss these topics a lot, but these were kind of forgotten or left behind when people used to discuss what is the best way to promote arm wrestling in the world. And they used to say, first of all, put the tables in the gyms. At that time, schools wasn't a thing. Not many people were talking about it. But gym is also a good idea. Put arm wrestling tables in the gyms. Maybe have some collaboration with them.
Table in Dehradun as well. We got, because there's a friend of mine who was doing a gym, opening a gym. So, we gave them the idea of doing arm wrestling, mega matches there, for the opening, which we did in Uttarakhand. So there's a table there in Dehradun as well. So everywhere we're trying to make sure, and there are a lot of tables as well, right? But people don't know about those tables. But there are sparring tables and everything all over the country.
Yeah.
So it's just that more people need to get to know about it.
And that idea of having tables in schools, it is such an amazing idea. I was watching an interview with Barbora. She's the super heavyweight female arm wrestling champion of the world. And recently in a super match, she defeated Gabrielle as well. She's like the female goat of arm wrestling. And now Barbora, she's a 22-year-old girl and weighs about 125 kilos, 6'2", like almost impossible to beat for anyone. And she was like, yeah, when somebody asked him, when did you start arm wrestling, she was like, about 15 years old. And at 16 I won European, 17 I won world championships in
Wow.
senior division, not in juniors. At 17 she won the seniors. And she was like, and that person was like, how did you get into arm wrestling? And she was kind of confused, like, how did I get into arm wrestling? There are arm wrestling tables in our schools, so that's how I got into it. And she was talking as if she wouldn't even have looked at arm wrestling if there were no arm wrestling tables in her school. That's how big of an impact it can create. Just a table in a school can find world champions like that.
That's why I'm saying, just having that table there, it can change the course of somebody's life, somebody's career. Because they have, all of a sudden they have, some place to practice, and it's easier for them. So, and one other thing I'm really looking forward to is the Asian Championship in Dubai. We're going to be there, and the level of competition is so high. The Asian Arm Wrestling Federation is doing an amazing job. The level of competition is really high because you actually have the Kazakhs over there who are number one in the world, And I was there last year in Samarkand as well. And let me tell you, those guys, I mean, the Kazakhstan, Kyrgyzstan, Uzbekistan, that whole belt is like so strong. The Iranians, so even our Indians, there's a really good, strong team going. Mazair is going to be there from Dubai, Askar Ali, Arjun, Rahul Panikar, Sachin Goyal, Manoj Patel, Pramod Mukhi. There's quite a few very strong guys who are going. So fingers crossed for some of them to do really well. I really wishing them the best. Pro Punja is providing the kit as well. We've also giving some money back to some of the kids as financial assistance. So we're doing what we can to help the athletes get there.
Yeah. And Mark is saying, start a marketing campaign for these tables. Boost is the secret of my energy.
I actually love that. I actually love that. I read that and I was like, that's actually a good idea. So thank you, Mark.
Yeah.
We'll probably use that.
Mark also has a business like related to tennis. He is into promoting sports in Dubai. He's in Dubai. Yeah, he lives in Dubai right now. That's why all the great questions are coming from.
Just meet up in Dubai now when I come.
Yeah.
But great idea. Thank you.
Yeah. Pradeep is so beautiful. The guy needs sunglasses. Yeah, maybe I'll wear one. And change sponsors every 3 months, 6 months, or 1 year. Mark is saying, hi, I'm Wrestling World. What's up, Nenad? Okay. 160 pounds. 160 pounds. Okay, people are talking among themselves. Make club in all states. That will help all the new players to show their skills. So talking about clubs, like coaching, how are you planning? Like, is there any plans for coaching the athletes of the league?
Yeah, there is. There is going to be a coach attached to every team, and we do plan on doing a workshop before as well. But we have to realize, the first season is not going to be perfect, right? Because a lot of the team owners as well are just going to be learning, right? It's the first time they're going to be exposed to the sport and everything. So I think even for the team owners, it's going to be a learning experience, and they'll know much, much better what to do the second year around. The second year around, they'll probably have more time to plan and everything. They might have workshops in between. They might fly somebody down from Kazakhstan or from somewhere else to train, their guys for some time. So the first year is always a little, you know what I mean? We are going to try to help the teams as much as possible the first 2 years. We're going to try to do a lot of hand-holding in terms of getting them coaches and staff and everything. So we're going to do what we can to make sure that it's as easy as possible for the team owners.
And just like 2020, any rehearsals for the players this time before going live on TV?
I wouldn't call it the rehearsal, but yeah, practice. Because see, when you're live on TV, you need to know, where you have when you're coming in, where you have to be standing in. Simple things where you're going to go to the table. We're going to have fixed break times as well. All of this stuff. People have to know what's going on, right? Because it's live TV. There's no room for mistakes or anything, right? So there is going to be a certain amount of practice and rehearsal, because we want to put up a good show, right? We want to put up a good show, and there's no shame in rehearsing and being prepared. So the preparation is not so much, because the match is going to be the match, right? You can't prepare, the preparation for the match is an individual preparation and practice, right? But
Yeah.
but other preparation in the rehearsal is, like I said, just knowing the atmosphere, where you have to come into, how much, when the camera is going to come on you. The camera might come on you from the green room itself, from you walking out from the green room till the table. So you have to be aware of that. You can't already all of a sudden be surprised. Oh shit, there's a camera in my face. You know, and so it's about getting players used to the atmosphere, used to where they're going to come and how they're going to come to the table, blah blah blah, all of that. So it's a matter of getting them all very used to doing all of that.
And when IPL started, Indian Premier League started in India, they had a format like four international players only, and seven have to be Indian players. So is Pro Panja also thinking about inviting international players into the league, into the teams?
Yes, but from the third year onwards, because the first couple of years, uh, uh, you know, uh, we want the Indian players a certain amount of time to get ready, because we do need to raise our standards. Let's be clear about it. We're not the number one arm wrestling nation in the world, right? We're not. So we need a little time to raise that standard, to get everything set, and then we start bringing in foreign players from the third year onwards.
Yeah. And Mike G is saying, I agree, some rehearsal seems okay, otherwise will look very awkward at times. And one thing that can give some comfort about this is everyone having at least a small social media, Instagram or Facebook or YouTube account. Just facing the camera, speaking in front of the camera, making a few videos, that can almost kill the camera fear. I wouldn't say necessarily stage fear, but that can kill the camera fear easily. And what you mentioned early on, I'll elaborate on it. What happened in the Gwalior tournament is that people were asked, they were given an incentive if they create social media accounts and they post 10, they make 10 posts related to Pro Punja League, related to arm wrestling, then they will be given free accommodation. And many people did that. They showed their Instagram accounts, and that's, I think, a good initiative that every arm wrestling league in the world can learn from.
Yeah, absolutely. And it was all about, like I said, getting them into the habit of doing that, right? And getting them into the habit of doing that, and it worked for that time. So it's about getting them into the habit of posting more, and making them realize how important it is. And the more I think they realize that, the better.
And I think by till 2020 there wasn't much social media going on in arm wrestling in India, and I think people have realized in those 2-3 years that it is important. And we see lots and lots of arm wrestlers. Many arm wrestlers have over 100,000 followers in India.
Yeah, exactly. So it's really grown, and it's growing big. So we're glad we are able to facilitate, this revolution in arm wrestling and in Panja. So I feel really good, because I want the players to do well. I want them to grow their social media. I want them to have a huge social media following. I want them to be able to make money off of their Instagram as well. Because you truly become successful in sport when you're making much, much, much more money from everything surrounding the sport, not just the sport itself. Like you rightly pointed out, the IPL trophy was just 50 lakhs, but they were probably paying that for their least expensive player, so that itself doesn't mean much, right? So, so the players, when they realize that it'll be great, that you can make much, much more money because of being not when you're being seen on TV, but because you're being seen on TV.
Yeah.
And they should realize the difference and be able to take advantage of that opportunity.
Yeah. And even now, I think the IPL prize money is like 20 crores, which is a little bit less than $3 million. But still, we have seen, even now, one player costs that much.
Yeah.
Like,
A couple of the top players are like 16, 17 crores. So
yeah.
that's literally like one of the players, 1/110th of somebody else, but like one player literally.
Yeah. Mark has another comment. I have one advice: have disclaimers, signed waivers, insurance for every school event. Arms will break, biceps will tear, parents will come for you. And that's one thing that kind of pushed Mark away from the sport for some time. Like he got excited into arm wrestling, and he organized arm wrestling in a school or somewhere in Dubai, and there were three arm breaks in one tournament, and people were coming after the guy who was like mainly involved in
I
it.
agree with you, and that's why we've not put it in any schools yet. We put it in some colleges, but mostly more, there are academies coming up in schools, in colleges, sorry, and in gyms and everything in other places. So we haven't put it in schools yet, and the biggest reason is that, because you need to have somebody responsible at the table, and you can't always have that. We were in somebody was saying, why don't you, like there's these mini gyms along the sea face and everything here in Bombay, in different places, they put these mini gyms. People were like, why don't you do a tie up and, with a sponsor who can sponsor it and put these things? I was like, if my name comes on it, somebody's going to be on that table, breaking their arm or like they, tearing their bicep, and they're literally going to come after us because that table will have our branding. So I said no to that, because like I said, you do need to make sure that it's not just about being liable, but making sure people don't get hurt, right? So you can't put the table in a place where it's unsupervised and people might get hurt, because they will. There's a higher chance that they will. So you have to be very smart about these things. So thanks for the advice, Mark, and we will be following.
Yeah, arm breaks are really common among especially the younger generation, and also in females they're also very common. And but I wouldn't say bicep tears. Bicep tear is a high level professional injury. Like you have to be really strong in order to detach your bicep. Yeah, that's a professional level injury. I have never seen anyone who is not strong detaching his bicep. It always comes from like excessive strength, but even a weak guy can sometimes break their bone. That is something I've seen. And there was one, finally we can see live commentary. So before we discuss about Pro Punja League commentary, there was some recent discussion, a lot of controversy in the arm wrestling world about live commentary. So what we arm wrestlers do is, like, when let's say there's a $15 pay-per-view going on, so for those who cannot buy, and more importantly our target audience is those people who are looking for a free pirated stream. They are looking to search, let's say, Dennis versus Levan in the future, if it is going to happen, or Hermes Gasparini versus Levan. They type that into it, and Pradeep is going live. He has like 2,000 viewers, so they may think that, yeah, that's where the match is being shown. So when they click on that video, all they see is me talking about the match. There is no audio from the event, there is no video from the event, and constantly we go live 2 hours before the event or 90 minutes before the event. The pay-per-view link is pinned at the top. At least a couple of dozen times we ask the viewers to purchase the pay-per-view. Anyone who asks for pirate streams, they get blocked, and the chat is after them. So there are tons, hundreds of questions while the event is not started yet. Hundreds of questions, people asking that where can they purchase the pay-per-view, where is the link, at what time the matches start. So those doubts are also cleared. So what are your thoughts about that? Like, are they helping the pay-per-view, or are those live stream commentaries hurting the pay-per-view? Like,
No,
if
no.
what if Pro Punja, if I did a live commentary about a Pro Punja League pay-per-view event, like, what would your reaction be to that?
So let me say, I don't want to talk about what other people
Yeah.
are saying or feeling about it, because I never like to comment on somebody else's thoughts or promotions or how they deal with it. And like you rightly said, if you are doing that on Pro Punja, I would not have a problem. That's all I can say. Is I would highly encourage people, everybody watching. If you want to do that, we would encourage you to do commentaries without showing the actual video or anything, because that would be at that time Sony Sports copyright as well. So we cannot, we don't want anybody to be showing sharing a live stream or anything.
Yeah, just let me
But no,
cut
I
you
know
for a moment.
you told me that you don't show the
Yeah,
thing.
no. This is going to be a free event. So for free event, commentary doesn't make any sense. Why would I go live commentating on a free event? They can just go on there and watch. So I'm talking about a pay-per-view event mostly.
Yeah, so even for a pay-per-view, let's say Pro Punja went pay-per-view, okay, I still would not have any issues. Again, I would encourage people to because even this is not totally free. You have to still pay for the channel. you still have to pay for the OTT. So it's not absolutely free. But yes, I understand your point. And personally, I would not have a problem. Like I said, you have to make the ecosystem strong. You have to make the ecosystem strong, and you have to empower other people because you want to be talked about. You want, a certain vibe and a certain buzz built around your promotion. So I personally, like I said, without commenting on what anybody else, because everybody has a right to protect their promotion and have their opinion. But my personal thing would be that, I would not have an issue at all. And I would, in fact, encourage people to do that.
Hmm. And what about the commentary? Is it going to be in Hindi? Is it going to be in English?
It's going to be in Hindi. We might do some other streams as well. We might have an English commentary as well, but it is going to be primarily in Hindi.
Okay.
If we are sending the feed out to a couple of English-speaking countries, then we will have an English feed for that.
Yeah, on their OTT platforms.
Yeah.
So I think I've asked all the questions that I had in my mind. Anything else that you want to tell to our viewers?
I just want to say you're doing a great job. It's always a pleasure speaking to you, and we're proud that there's an Indian there in one of the foremost podcasts on arm wrestling, and I'm great you are speaking to people from around the world, and you have an international audience, and you are in touch with the international arm wrestling community. So it feels great, and more power to you. And I wish you all the very best, and hopefully we'll get you to do some commentating for Pro Punja League again soon.
I've already started practicing. I've already started.
Great.
And guys, I did commentary for Pro Punja League for the previous Gwalior event. You can watch Pro Punja League ranking tournament and you'll hear my voice in all of those videos. So that was an awesome experience. First time learning experience, and now I think I can do much better than that. At least twice as much better, which I believe is the necessity as well when we are going live on TV. So this will be a more comfortable thing, and I don't really mind. Like some people can get what's the right word? They can get. I mean, they may not be so confident seeing the live atmosphere, but to me, I don't think it is a problem. I don't think it is a problem because it's a different story. I'll tell you some other day. I used to be like the most introverted guys you'll ever see, but I was kind of forced to put in a situation where there were 500 people sitting in front of me, and I was the one standing, and I had to do some announcements. And maybe I even had to do tell some jokes and stuff. And I'm so grateful for that moment that kind of killed the introvert inside me, and it has helped me a lot in my career.
Great, awesome.
Yeah, Mark Skigara with another 75 dirham super chat. Thank you, Praveen sir. Thanks. Thanks, Mark. You've always Mark's. This is Mark's favorite number, 74.99, which I've remembered it by now. You can see 1600 Indian rupees. I've remembered it. I've gotten these 74.99, probably 10 or 15 of these super chats from Mark.
Awesome. Well, thanks to everybody tuning in. Remember, the arm wrestling community has to stick together, and together we will make the sport grow. Thank you. Take care. Good night.
Thanks. And Pro Punja League, guys, please subscribe to Pro Punja League. 137,000 subscribers already. So we can give some more international subscribers as well. So that would be awesome. Please follow Pro Punja League on Instagram as well, and also on Facebook. So thanks everyone.
Thank you, Pradeep. Take care. Bye.
Bye.